Yes. Yeah. All right, just had to make sure that was good over there. Here we go. What's good, beautiful people? We're back. We're here to talk about sports. We got Sam, we got Harrison, we got myself, we got the NFL. Weird ass week in football. We'll definitely run through all of that. Get through some of our takeaways from the week, our picks, what we thought was good, what we thought was bad. A couple of our power rankings, and then our non-power rankings. I wish you guys could have just seen Harrison struggle to do this. Our picks, and then we also have. Well, Sam just put a bracket in there, so I guess we're talking a lot of baseball. And we're also doing NFL. NCAA, along with Who Do You Care or Who You Care or whatever the fuck it is. All right, so gentlemen, let's get right into this. All right, some takeaways from week 3, and I would love for you guys to add this, but I'm just going to run down a couple of things real quick. Sam Darnold leads the NFL.
You didn't ask me how I was doing.
I don't care. Sam Darnold leads the NFL in passing TDs. Who would have ever thought that Sam Darnold would be leaving the NFL and passing TDs?
I did.
No, you didn't. Well, we're far removed from that.
USC fan, I never saw that coming.
I don't. That's good because most USC quarterbacks don't really pan out. So, it's true. It's okay. Pretty decent. Not gonna make it to the Hall of Fame. Huh? But fumble.
He went to 2 AFC title games.
Okay. That's fine. Okay. So he panned out.
He had a solid couple years.
Okay. Cool.
More of an indictment on the Jets, but
I'm just trying to just gauge your guys' standards in this situation.
Aaron Rodgers, he might be the best Jets quarterback of all time. Anyway,
Wow. Yeah, I want to unpack that another time. There's 4 3-0 teams: the Chiefs, the Steelers, the Seahawks, and the Vikings. 3 of those teams, I'm sure none of us looking at these don't. What are you gonna say? The Seahawks?
Steelers.
You thought the Steelers were gonna be 3-0?
Not 3-0. I was high on the Steelers.
Okay, so then my point is proven. I said none of us thought that they were going to be 3-0. Harrison, shut your ass up. Bills are 2-0, which after tonight, they may not be that anymore. Bo Nix made history, completed 25-plus passes, had a completion percentage of 69%, above 69%, rushed for more than 45 yards, scored a rushing touchdown, 0 interceptions, 0 sacks, and this is the record for a single game, whether it's regular season or postseason. So shout out to him, especially after the first 2 weeks. Also, a very interesting stat: the Dolphins are the only team to not hold a lead for a single second this season. Yeah.
Trying to change my non-power rating.
Yeah, that's not great. I wouldn't say that would be great, gentlemen. Do you guys have any takeaways from the week that stood out to you guys that are that you'd like to share? All right, I take that. Take that.
The NFL's crazy, and we sit here every preseason. I think I made the comment of like we sit here, we think it's gonna go one way. I mean, I was banging the table that I thought the Steelers were gonna be like hot garbage, and they're winning. And like teams like the Chargers, they lost their quarterback, but they had a good couple games to start the year, and then you have some teams just falling flat on their face where we thought they would be better. Hey, parity in the NFL, baby. Like, here we are. Just a silly amount of parity. It's really hard to tell who's good and who's bad week to week because a lot of the teams look really bad this week. And that stat can't be true. The Dolphins won a game.
When?
They're 1-2.
Are they?
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute.
Okay.
I thought they were bad, but I sent to look.
Stats. The source was wrong. I'm sorry. Source is wrong.
They won the first game. I can't remember who they played, but yeah, just a lot of bad teams, a lot of bad
True, they did. That was the game. That was game post handcuffs. That's right.
Yeah, post handcuffs.
That's true.
Just a lot of bad early games. The late slate wasn't much better. The Thursday game was a blowout early. We'll see what tonight brings.
Okay. Let's get right into our dubs and our L's. Harrison, you were starting off with a dub, and it is the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton,
Just like we cooked it up.
only quarterback in the league so far this year to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in a game. Just like we cooked it up. Andy Dalton, the Red Rocket. Complete indictment on Bryce Young and his play and how unready he was. Because that team looked so terrible the first 2 games. I mean, we talked about it. They were number 32 on my non-power rankings because they had a minus 60 point differential. so to be able to really, it was never really in doubt against the Raiders yesterday. And for Andy Dalton to come out throwing dimes all over the place, the Raiders looked horrendous, and Antonio Pierce's post-game press conference wasn't much better. So, he's got to be my dub of the week for just making that team look way different. And I guess it is the Raiders, but this is a Raiders team that just beat the Ravens, and that might go down as the worst loss of the year for any team, considering how the Raiders looked yesterday and how I think they'll look going forward. Without Max Crosby, I will say, but still, shout out Andy Dalton.
It's funny because when I made the rundown before you gentlemen got to look at it, I had the Panthers fans as a winner because they actually got to see their team get a win, which I didn't even envision happening for them at all this year. So that will be a honorable mention for them off that. But that's not my pick. It's the guy that I said that's leading the NFL in touchdown passes, which I never would have thought I would ever see come from this young man, Sam Darnold. Even though Sam and I have spoken on this podcast plenty of times of how we enjoyed Sam Darnold and was hoping for the best for him. And we know going to the Jets is basically a sinkhole. Sorry, Sam. And you're just not going to do too well there outside of a couple of people in recent memory. But just kudos to Sam. One of the biggest things that I've taken away and that I've heard kind of through the offseason leading up to this was Sam Darnold has sat with Brock Purdy and learned from Brock Purdy during how he practices and prepares for games. So a guy that's been in the league less time than him, he's learned from him watching and sitting behind him last year with the Niners and whatnot. So to hear that, that's like a super humbling experience for, again, a guy that's been a veteran, that's been in the league longer than him, but just to be a sponge still, even at this stage, and learn more. And it seems like that's helped. And JJ, I'm sure, is absolutely happy that he has a guy that can just throw a bomb to him and be this accurate. The Vikings look really good. I would say they're probably one of the biggest surprises, if not the biggest surprise in the NFL right now. So shout out to Sam Darnold.
Yeah, there's a lot of correlations to that 49er team that you just mentioned with where Darnold was the backup last year. They went to the Super Bowl. And, we talked about the scheme, and this is a situation unlike Sam Darnold has been in before. His 4th team, 3rd where he's the starting quarterback, but, you have an all-pro in Justin Jefferson, a better line. Aaron Jones is a professional running back. He's good at what he does, and a great defense with a great defensive play caller. And like TJ Hawkinson's not even healthy yet.
Nope.
And Jordan Addison, did he even play?
Nope.
Yeah, So the sky's the limit with this team, and in very similar, again, correlation to Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold is just doing what he needs to do, but also he threw 4 touchdowns. So it's he's managing the game, but he's playing smart football. He's not turning the ball over, and hopefully he's okay. He has a bone bruise, right? But the Vikings are a team to watch for sure.
They are.
Shout out to their defense as well. They're second to the Steelers in points against, so 30 points against in 3 games, and then they're just controlling the game. So allowing him to be free and kind of do what he's doing.
Who's their defensive coordinator again? Brian Flores?
Yeah, I just said
Think that guy.
I think they're holding teams to 26% on third down completion. So
I
that's really good.
think
Brock Purdy.
think that guy's a really good coach. Just putting that out there.
After the game last week, where he goes, "Your scheme's insane, man."
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know who's coming or going.
He's a defensive mastermind, and he continues to prove that over and over and over again. You have a guy that was considered to be a former defensive mastermind as your head coach of your Jets, Sam, and that's who you have as your dub.
Yeah, it was. I was saying to a friend over the weekend or before Sunday's game started, it's really refreshing as a Jets fan to know that you already have a W locked up. You don't have to really worry about like the games on Sunday or Monday Night Football. You've already had a pretty nice win. So no team in the Super Bowl era, 400 plus yards on offense, no turnovers, have a ball for over 40 minutes, no TDs allowed, and 7+ sacks. You know, where you can say what you want about the situation and on a short week in New England coming to New Jersey, but you know you got to play who's in front of you, and the offense looked really good and just clicking. And again, Aaron Rodgers hasn't played too much football over the last year, or 2 years, so you know it's a work in progress, but you have to be you have to be excited if you're a Jets fan or just a New York sports fan to see what you're seeing there, because the team's playing well and the defense is playing well along with it. So
I'm happy to hear you happy, Sam. I was hoping there was more enthusiasm in your voice when you talked about your Jets actually winning because you finally get to see your quarterback. But I know you're a Jets fan, so you also know the other side of the coin. So I get it. Not really because the Eagles keep winning. Harrison, you have the Steelers defense.
Yeah. Best defense in the league, 26 points against. They're just dominating games, dominating the defensive line. TJ Watt looks like an absolute monster. Basically won them that game yesterday, other than Justin Fields throwing a great throw over the middle to get that kind of winning touchdown that put them ahead. But that defense is so good. Teams should be very afraid, and they're just playing really, really good football.
I think ever since, the Steelers always have good defense. Just like the Ravens always have a good defense. Like, you just know that's what you're going to get anytime you see certain type of teams. And with TJ just being out there, just absolutely being a monster. He's a game wrecker. Literally, he will wreck the game on his own. There's a few of those in the league, but he is arguably the best defensive player in the league. And in my opinion, he is the best defensive player in the league, just based solely on what he can do and just destroy the front of that line. So it's crazy that you can game plan for somebody and know that person's there and still know that there's nothing you can do to stop that individual no matter what you do. And it's not like he's getting single coverage. He's getting double teamed and still getting there, sometimes triple teamed. So kudos to him. But on the other half of that is the offense. As Harrison mentioned, Justin Fields. He's kind of looking like what Justin Fields looked like in Ohio State at this point. I saw an article that he said that he matured over a year, which, okay, I'll take your word for it. That normally doesn't happen. Maybe there's a situation, but if that's what the case is, he looks like he's matured on the field. And the way that he's played, he hasn't put himself in the normal Justin Fields predicaments of forcing the ball and whatnot. But to be fair, the latter half of last year with the Bears, he started playing extremely well and carried that over to this year. Russ, you're not getting your spot back. I'm just going to let you know that right now. You're probably going to be traded to another team, but you're not getting your spot back. Something has to happen to Justin Fields because there's no way that young man's going to give it up. And just the fact that you get to see his athleticism, which was the biggest part of his game, and being able to move like that, yeah, Tomlin's got his guy. And that's scary. And that should be scary for the league because if he allows himself to get more and more comfortable and understand more, he has a leader of men around him and one of the best coaches, in my opinion, the best coach in the NFL to be there to support him. So shout out to Justin Fields.
and just overall organizations.
True.
Right?
True.
This is, you can debate the talent that he had and coaching in Chicago as being,
They do.
Got Colts, Cowboys, Raiders, Jets, Giants, Commanders. I mean, there's some tough ones in there, but definitely a way they can rattle off some wins and kind of take charge of the AFC North. Steelers are dangerous.
They are.
I would like to see them add in some more like RPOs and running plays for Justin Fields. He hasn't really taken advantage of his legs too much, but I think they'll work in some of those tools later in the year as they get more and more comfortable. And I think the offense is only going to get better.
That is spot on. That's exactly what I believe is going to happen. But I just think they need to kind of figure out what he was going to do first, and this is perfect. Yep.
They're easing it in.
Absolutely.
Getting comfortable, and then I think they can really start kind of really taking off with their offense. And if their offense takes off, I'll pick them for the Super Bowl. I swear to God.
There you go. Another former Jets quarterback is leading this team to 3-0. Sorry again, Sam. The Seattle Seahawks is your dub. Sam?
Oh yeah, me.
It was on the next page.
The Seahawks are 3-0. So much to be said about the 49ers here, and they're 1-2, and the Cardinals, I think a team that we are, at least I'm growing to like a lot. Harrison's got them to win the Super Bowl, but
Cardinals Steelers Super Bowl like the good old days.
Wow. Wow.
a lot can be said about this Seahawks team. They're playing really well now. Look, they played a Tua-less Dolphins team who's now down to a third-string quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And your weapons on the outside here can't do anything if you can't get them the ball. So that's a problem. But 3-0, here they are. I think Mike McDonald has been a breath of fresh air in that Seattle organization, and I think he's the fit coach under 40 to start his career. I think Mike McDaniel, Josh McDaniels, Matt LaFleur are other ones. I'm missing one. I have it written down. But again, it's going to get harder for him. The Lions are on deck. I think the Bills after that, 49ers. It's like
Lions, Giants, Niners, Falcons, Bills.
So it's gonna get tough here, and you're not playing Jacoby Brissett and Hicks and whoever else. So there's something to be said for that too. But right now, nice win for Seattle.
Yeah, good dub for them this week. I think they're a little bit of fool's gold. Yeah, they played Broncos, Pats, Dolphins. I think they're like a 8-9 win team, which is solid, and that division will be up for grabs. So they're going to be right in it. Obviously, they start off 3-0. So
They could be surprising. Who knows? But I do believe it's a little bit of fool's gold. But a team that was definitely fool's gold before the season started. We thought that they were potentially going to be a playoff team. May potentially be later on, but not the way that they've started. Sam, you have an L for my father's favorite team, the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think it's just the situation here. We talked about it a lot. For the foreseeable future, Tua's down under center now. Who's your quarterback actually going to be? Is it Tyler Huntley now? Do they make a trade? But this team was a favorite in this division and/or to at least make the playoffs, and they certainly have the firepower to do it. But now you're just, can you right the ship here and just salvage, what you have around you and put together a winning season at this point? It can get away from you pretty quick. So they're 0-3 now, or they're 1-3.
1-3, 1-2.
1-2. So again, this is not what you want, but it's early in the season. But also, you can make the case that they're in trouble depending, how the rest of the AFC looks, and looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's definitely early. The Niners are 1-2 right now, and they're considered to be one of the favorites for the NFC. But that may have all changed with CMC being out for the period of time, right? what we believe teams to be based on last year is also different. You also got to remember most teams that go to the Super Bowl the year prior to don't necessarily make it back the year following due to all the injuries, and you're playing longer than anybody else because you're one of the last two teams playing. So you've gone through certain circumstances through the body. It is just not fun. So I just am very happy the Dolphins keep losing because I can keep making fun of my dad. So I'm very happy about this one too, is that I can keep making fun of the Cowboys because they suck. I can't. I know people that are gonna listen and they're gonna tell Sam why is Branden talking about my Cowboys like this? Well, let's just be real with each other on this one. And I know they do. But I'm gonna be real with you because I'm always real about it because I give them their props when they deserve it. Not gonna do it this time because they absolutely suck. I've watched them not play run defense. Period. And I watch when any other team gets torched like this. And I remember my team last year during the latter half of the year, teams ran all through a Swiss cheese, just run through every single hole on the team. The Cowboys defense, or lack thereof, is embarrassing. It just makes no sense to see what's going on. And they're essentially turning on each other now. I don't know if you heard Micah Parsons' comment. He said some people need to stop acting as if they're superheroes and have to do it all. I don't know who he's referring to, but it's very, very interesting because he was definitely referring to one of his teammates. So you can clearly hear the frustration. CeeDee Lamb during the game arguing with Dak when CeeDee was the one dropping the damn ball. Not Dak. It was CeeDee. And Dak was doing what he was supposed to do. So there's only so much that you can do, but this is the bigger problem here is these players don't make the choices in the front office of who they get to play with. That's Jerry and his son and the whole regime of the Joneses there. You had this opportunity with a guy named Derrick Henry who just ran all over you, that lives in Dallas, trains in Dallas, was a free agent this offseason and made it very clear that he wanted to play for your team. And you chose not to sign him. And then they asked Jerry about it after the game, and he said, we couldn't afford him. The reason why you couldn't afford him is because you waited until an hour before the game started to pay Dak Prescott. You waited until after all the wide receivers got paid, and you said, you know what? The price is up. We got to pay CeeDee up here when you could have gotten ahead of all of this, period. This was on you. You could have did so much during the offseason to make moves to get a guy that actually wanted to be there and play for your team, and you decided not to. Derrick Henry, one of the best running backs in the league, and you said, nope, we can't afford it. Billionaire Jerry Jones, you said you couldn't afford it. Got it. Understood. So Cowboys fans, sucks to suck.
888 total yards against them and 72 points against them their last two games at home against potential playoff teams. I mean, the Saints, the jury's kind of still out, but you know we like what we've seen, and the Ravens you just talked about. 888 total yards given up by Mike Zimmer's defense at home the last two games.
Yep.
It's brutal. And then their one win is against the Browns, who look horrible.
Yeah, exactly.
And the schedule gets really tough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, the Giants, they're coming off a win. It's always a rivalry. You really never want to go into that. But then you got Steelers, Lions, 49ers, Falcons, Eagles, Texans.
Well, let's walk it back to the Giants, though. The Giants in this game that they just won, they ran the ball extremely well. What are the Cowboys not being able to stop right now? The run. So it's, again, added on top of it to being a rivalry game, you're still in a predicament. So it is going to be hard no matter what. Yes, I don't trust the Giants at all, but they look somewhat decent. It's not going to be a walk in the park. It never is for a rivalry game. So I wouldn't even be surprised. I went back and forth on my pick on that one if the Giants would win or the Cowboys would win, because I don't know what the Cowboys are doing right now. They look like they're imploding. Yeah. You know you know who else is in trouble? The Titans. And you have Will Levis. Looks like they made a mistake with that, but I'll let you just talk about that.
Yeah, he was bad. I picked them because I liked how they played against the Jets, and then I liked the money they spent on the offensive side of the ball. take 8 sacks, have a 15.1 QBR, throw a pick six. It's just not good enough. Their line is not bad, but not good. But I'm putting it on him. He looked terrible, and he's continued each week to give us a meme of how somehow ending up on the floor and somehow throwing bad picks left and right, or fumbling, or it looks really bad. So for this week, he is my L.
I would even extend that L to the Titans. Because you let it. Well, I like their defense. I'm not going to throw their defense under the bus because their defense is actually probably the most solid point, but it's hard to be a solid defensive unit when you're on the field most of the day because your offense sucks. It's hard to do what you're supposed to do when you get off and then you got to get right back on. How's that guy that they drafted before him? That was Malik. How's he doing? Look, he's looking pretty solid, huh?
He just beat them.
No, that's right. Oh, that's right. They got to see him up front and center. Huh. Funny. Sam, your pick is the Browns. So we're connected here, bud.
Yeah, they're just. I had this blank until 5 seconds ago, and I mean, I can make a case for so many teams. Not
Could.
looking great.
You could.
I wanted to put the Bears here, but the Browns lost to the Giants, and I mean, Malik Neighbors is a beast.
He is. He is.
We know how special he will be, and it's a shame that he's going to be marred with inconsistent quarterback play for the foreseeable future, but we know what he can do. But the Browns have scored 48 points in 3 games. Watson's averaging 184 passing yards a game. The team's just upside down. Harrison, as you mentioned, just penalties and just miscommunication. They had 80 yards on their first 40 plays Sunday. 24 of those was that touchdown to Amari Cooper. So that's not good. 56 yards on 39 plays. Start the game. Not what you want. So, and you're locked into Deshaun Watson for the future as well. And who knows what that's like. Every day you hear worse and worse things. So I'll just leave that.
In the season preview, I was like, oh, maybe let's pump the brakes on Deshaun. He was 5-1 last year as a starter, and then got hurt. But I'm just wrong. He's playing horrific. He might be completely washed. Yeah, they're just really bad. Their one win came against the Jaguars in the second half, where the Browns went punt, field goal, punt, 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 punt. So they somehow won that game. But otherwise, they look horrendous, and that's a good call.
Yeah, I don't know where this number one defense went from last year. It ain't there. It packed its bags and moved out of town. And if I were you, because my L is to the Browns fan, if I were you, I would either pack up and move out of town or just root for another team, because this organization doesn't care about you, Browns fans. You had something, it looked like you were turning the corner when you had Baker and OBJ and Landry, and that went nowhere. And then went and got Deshaun, put all this money guaranteed at that on the line for Deshaun, and still nothing. You guys have probably had the most quarterbacks in NFL history for a team, and it is just going to continue to grow. Eventually, after it's going to be wild because they're going to have to bench Deshaun at some point, and all that guaranteed money is just going to be sit there and looked at, and the boos are going to be crazy. I'm looking forward to seeing the brown paper bags in the crowds again. I'm not looking forward for you guys as Browns fans to have to go through it again, but is that franchise is just cursed, man. It's just really, really, really bad. I genuinely feel bad for them. It just, you watch all the teams in their division just continue to like get better in years and at least be somewhat competitive, and it's just like you're wasting away so much defensive talent out there. It's just bad. Sorry, Browns fans.
We can have a revisionist history with Baker
Yeah.
The Browns beating their division rivals
Yep.
in a playoff game, the Steelers.
Yep.
We were doing this podcast when that happened. I think we were doing it live when that happened. Like, so it's within arm's reach, and yeah, it's awful. Not only did you trade a fortune in draft capital to get Deshaun Watson, you also gave him a record guaranteed money, and then doubled down on it before the season started to get more cap space that you don't even need because you're not spending the cap space you have. And now they're stuck. They're going to cut him at some point, and it's going to be upside down. And it sucks, but it's not good. Stupid organizations make stupid decisions.
They do. I also feel bad for this fan base because they're honestly one of the best fan bases, but they have not had anything to cheer for since Rich Gannon was there. You have the Raiders, Harrison.
I do. To come off your best 10 minutes and steal a win from the Ravens, and then go and basically lay an egg against the Panthers, who coming into this game, I'll just keep saying it, plus 60-point differential over first game. To look like that against that team, brutally bad. And then to go post game, I think Antonio Pierce said we had a lot of players out there make business decisions. We're going to be making some business decisions going forward. To say that, it's just bad, and they're playing so soft. When last year their whole identity was supposed to be Raiders football. We're going to be tough. We want to pound the rock. We want to pound you in the mouth on defense. To look like that against the Panthers is just very disappointing. With that said, they have the Browns next week, so they can get right back on track.
Not the pound you in the mouth. It's crazy. Wasn't gonna walk past that. But they don't look good. But it's you can't not play for or give max effort for a coach like Antonio Pierce. Like, he's a guy that gave max effort when he was playing. And if you think that he's not going to sit there and be like, yeah, you got to go after he won some Super Bowls, like, he's that type of guy to be like, yeah, no, you're going to sit or you're going to be gone. You can't do that with a guy like that. It's just that black hole is literally a black hole out there. It's just, it just sucks some things in and just never comes back. And I'm leaving it at that. Power rankings this week, before Monday Night Football. We have a few changes here. And an honorable mention. So at 5 are the Eagles. And the only reason I have the Eagles at 5, with other teams being 3-0, is because of the teams that they beat, which would be the Steelers, which would be the Saints, who I still believe is going to be fairly good. They were just able to stop their run game, which everybody knows they're going to do, and beating the Packers. But don't think that I'm going to let Jalen Hurts off the hook and all of his turnovers, because it's absolutely goddamn ridiculous, and I'm getting sick and tired of seeing it. And I'm sure I know a bunch of Eagle fans that are as well. I can't go on here and not talk about that. It's been bad. But if it wasn't for my favorite player in the NFL, and has been my favorite player since he's come in, Saquon Barkley, this team would possibly be 0-3. And if it wasn't for Saquon in the last game, if he would have caught it, they could have possibly been 3-0 right now. So this team is still a mixed bag. Now they've got a bunch of injuries after this game. A lot of people went down. Lane Johnson concussed. Smitty concussed on a shitty, garbage late hit. Mekhi Becton broke his finger, I think it was, or he did something to his finger. Covey broke something in his shoulder. There's just a couple of injuries, and A.J. Brown is still out with hamstring. So they are hurt right now. So to see what they do from there, and they were still able to win that game, but that's going to be hard to do against a Bucs team that was also the team that knocked them out of the playoffs last year and has a chance of making it back to the playoffs. So Eagles at 5. At 4 is the other team in Pennsylvania, the Steelers, who are 3-0. There's no way I could not put them on this list, especially how highly we talked about them earlier in the show, which I kind of knew was already going to happen because we've all watched and we have good eyes. I got 4 of them, and so does Sam. So it's just really, really nice to see what's happening with that team and getting Tomlin back to where he belongs, which is hopefully to the playoffs. But Steelers at 4. 3, I slept the Bills there because they have not played yet. And as I did with the Eagles earlier, I won't change it if they were on there because I don't know if they're going to win or lose. But Bills have a chance to go to 3-0 and join those other teams we mentioned earlier. And they have a really, really good chance to do so. Number 2, they were not on there. They were on there 5, but they jumped all the way up to 2, and that's the Vikings. Because the way that they've been playing defensively, offensively, they look like a powerhouse right now. Yes, I know some of the teams they played, but still, I still believe they have a firm chance of doing what they have to do in their conference, and it should be very interesting. And again, Sam Darnold was my pick this week, so I might as well keep with that. And the Chiefs, who keep getting bailed out by calls, but are number 1, and they are doing this without Travis Kelce actually being a factor. Just think about that. Kelsey's not a factor. Their run game, they don't have their number 1 running back. They're doing running back by committee, and they keep finding these running backs that just step up and do what they got to do. Their wide receiving core has been absolutely phenomenal for them and being able to space it out. But Patrick Mahomes made it very, very clear they're not where they need to be or want to be. And that's scary, and it should be scary for the league just to know that they're 3-0. And if you watch the games, they could have lost several of these games, and they still are undefeated. So
I think 13 points is the total margin of victory for those 3 games. So
wild, just barely doing it. But again, a win's a win. It doesn't matter. A dub's a dub. At the end of the day, that's what it says on the stat sheet, and go from there. Honorable mention is the Seahawks, as we talked about. Reason that they weren't on the list is because, as we mentioned earlier, the teams that they've played. So it could be a mirage at this point in time. We'll see. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
I think that, you nailed it with the commentary on the Eagles. I know you take a lot of flack for being an Eagles fan, being a local Eagles fan, but I think you're being honest when the team's not playing well. And I think I heard Sirianni say, this isn't sustainable play.
Yes.
Lost AJ Burnett, or AJ Brown, AJ Brown and Devonta Smith, and you can't rely on Dallas Goedert getting a zillion yards. So we'll see there, but yeah, it's still early. The fact that this list has changed so drastically
Every week. Yep.
already.
Still early.
To the parity, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with your list. I think there's just there's so many teams have question marks. None of
Yes.
these teams are perfect. And it would be hard to knock any of those teams you have in the top 5. It's just there hasn't been a clear delineation of power quite yet. I don't know if we get there.
I think we will. I think probably by week 6 we'll actually start to see a clearer picture. That's just my thought process, and just kind of doing this a couple times now. It's the first few weeks we don't really know who these teams are, and they really don't know who they are either, as there's a lot of changes or whatnot. But I do know who Nick Sirianni is a coach that's probably going to be looking for a job next year because he probably won't be the Eagles head coach. But there's that. So Harrison has his non-power rankings, which he worked so hard in front of Sam and I, and it was very, very comical. So Harrison, your non-power ranking.
So while I said I bet your top 5 is tough, this is tougher. There's been a lot of bad play. I really should have the Dolphins in here somewhere. They did win week 1 against the Jaguars, so they should probably slot in here, but we'll keep them honorable mention for now. I still have the Giants at number 28. They were 31st last year, so that's last week. Still, I think they're going to get out of this basement. Their run game is much improved, or looked much improved this last week. Singletary's been playing really well for them. Neighbors is awesome, and
Danny Duck.
Danny Duck. All right, we'll leave him Danny Duck. He's actually played pretty well. He's been pretty solid. Not doing some stupid things, moving the ball over. So the ceiling is the floor for the Giants. For the 29,
I just remember a point when Gardner Minshew was on the Eagles' backup, and people called for him to be the starting quarterback over Jalen, and I cried laughing and said he's not a starting quarterback in the league. He is a backup, and he's shown that. It's the Raiders are purgatory at this point. It's just really, really bad football, and it has been for a while. I
We all like Antonio Pierce.
yes,
As a
yes,
fan, loved him as a player too. Even though he's a Giant,
yeah,
we all want him to succeed. I don't think any of us thought it was going to be easy.
no,
The way this Vegas team
absolutely not.
constructed. And if there's players quitting, if you will, then or just kind of making business decisions as they put it. And I heard Devontae Adams and Max Crosby be like, I have no idea who he's talking about, but maybe they do know. Obviously, you're not going to throw your brother, your teammate on
Hey,
the bus here.
go,
But
go,
if there's effort
go,
questions, that's to your point
go,
again,
go.
that's the problem. Could this team finish one of the worst teams in football? Yeah, but if
Yeah.
they're not trying and it's week 3, that's a problem. It's a big issue.
Yeah, it's an indictment.
It's not great. It's not great. Gentlemen, well, thank you, Harrison, for that. Week 3 records. I was 7-7. Sam was 8-6. Harrison was 7-7, and Instagram was 8-6. So Sam stole his answer from Instagram. Good job. Total for the season, I'm 20-26. Sam is 27-19. Harrison, you're 27-19, and Instagram or listeners are 29-17. So I got some making up to do, and everybody else is doing well outside of me. So good job. Picks for this week 4, Thursday Night Football, Cowboys at Giants. As I said, I went back and forth about this several times. Sam and I both picked the Cowboys. Harrison has the Giants. I'm not going to ask you any questions on that one. Bengals at Panthers. We all have Bengals. Because that is the very easy pick this week. And watch us be wrong, because that's how it normally works. Saints at Falcons. I have the Falcons. You both have the Saints. The reason I have the Falcons is I believe they were one pass interference call, or excuse me, not called, to beating the Chiefs just last night. And they look really good. They look like they've got some confidence after beating the Eagles. They finally are using Kyle Pitts. Fantasy owners rejoice. They're finally using Kyle Pitts. And Drake London. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I don't blame anybody that didn't do it, because that's just, whatever. And you both have the Saints on that one. Jags at Texans. We all have Texans. I can also see that being a trap game, being that Trevor Lawrence has the number 1 QBR in the NFL right now, which is, you take that as you may. Broncos at Jets. We all have the Jets. Vikings at Packers. I have the Packers. You guys have the Vikings. Let's talk about this one real quick. I have the Packers because I like what has been done to game plan around Malik, and the defense is still so extremely stout. I'm assuming you both are going with the Vikings because they just look too damn good right now, and it's a backup quarterback that they're going against.
Yes.
Okay.
Simple as that.
Okay. That's
Have LaFleur for scheming up what Willis can do, but I think this Vikings team's playing great.
Yeah, I think their offense is too good, and like Brock Purdy said, your scheme is insane. I like Malik Willis, but I don't think he's that, and I think he's going to struggle against what the Vikings draw for him.
That's fair. That's fair. Steelers at Colts. It's always sad to see, because I have so much faith in Anthony Richardson, but it just hasn't looked like it's panned out yet. But we all have Steelers. Rams at Bears. We all have Bears, which probably means the Rams are going to win, because I've gone back and forth in that one. We have the Eagles at Buccaneers. Sam and I both have the Eagles. Harrison, you have the Buccaneers. Why? Quick.
I think the Eagles are really banged up. Or as said, I like the Buccaneers to get back on track. I know you have them at 5. I just haven't liked what I've seen from them yet.
Trust me, I haven't either. I definitely haven't either, so I agree. Patriots.
I don't like what I saw from the Bucs yesterday either. But
I don't either. But at least they're healthier than what the Eagles are right now, which is, it's a game in itself.
yeah,
Him and Lane are both in the protocol. Yes.
So you usually don't play.
The next game.
I think it's like Brock Purdy was able to do it. I think there's just like a handful of players since
Yes.
the new protocol has been rolled out that have actually been able to play. It's tough.
It is.
Yeah, if the Bucks didn't look, didn't play like they did yesterday, probably would have said the Bucks. But I kind of feel like you feel Hayes, where like this Eagles team is like has all the pieces.
They do.
But we're seeing way too much of like the end of last season, despite the new coordinators. And if it wasn't, Saquon is basically all of their offense right now.
I wouldn't say if it's like the end of last season. I get what you're saying. I would say more so it's because the end of last season, the defensive coordinators didn't make the adjustments. Vic Fangio did make the adjustments. After last week getting ran all over, they stopped the run, and against a team that is a top running team. Go ahead.
Last year they were like finding ways to lose. I think this year,
Exactly.
I think they're going to find ways to win.
Yes.
I don't think they'll look great at doing it, but I think they will find ways to win. So I think this game is really close.
I do. I think so as well. I think it's whatever team actually wins is going to be by a field goal. Honestly, that's what I really think is going to be.
Let's the schedule really quick too. That the Eagles have played in the first X amount of.
Well, they have a bye. They have a bye after this. Thank God. So they have an early bye. Yeah.
You didn't expect the Saints to be this good. You didn't expect the Bucks to how they did the first 2 weeks of the season.
That's why
They're in Brazil.
I like your Falcons pick too. Just to go back earlier, they've played. I feel like they're prime time every.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm wavering a little on the Falcons Saints pick, but I think the Falcons are better than their record.
I agree. I agree. They've got so much talent on that team. I think it's just I definitely saw a glimpse of it when they played the Eagles, but I've been watching them what they just did against the Chiefs, and they have a guy with Justin Simmons who sat way too long as a safety, which still is mind-blowing to me. Went to the Falcons, who already had Bates sitting there. So they have the top safety tandem in the NFL, and Justin Simmons in his last 3 games against the Chiefs has picked off Mahomes 3 times. So you got the defense, you got the offense. Now it just needs to mesh together, and I think they're starting to build towards that. So that's that. But we talked about this too much. Patriots at Niners. We all have the Patriots. That's a joke. We have the Niners. Commanders at Cards. We all have the Cards. No go Birds. Chiefs at Chargers. Sam and I both have the Chiefs. Harrison has the Chargers if and only if the Herbert plays, which I have to double down with that because I feel the same way. Browns at Raiders. Go ahead.
Same thing with the Chiefs, like same as the Eagles. Like they're winning, but they haven't looked very.
They have not.
But their schedule's been very tough.
It has, which I think is a good thing. It's especially early. It's a good thing because obviously the latter half of your schedule will be lightened up depending on how those teams are record-wise at that point in time. But I think that's iron sharpening iron very early in the season, so it'll have them have an opportunity to really figure out who they are early. Browns at Raiders. This is the poopest game of all. Is dog water. So good luck to anybody that is watching this game. But we all have the Raiders, and I'm sure we're not even confident in that. We're not confident in anybody we picked on that one. Sunday night Bills at Ravens. Sam and I both have the Bills. Sam and I both have the Ravens. Harrison has the Bills. Monday Night Football, again, there's 2 games. There's the Titans at Dolphins. Again, another game that's dog water. Harrison has the Dolphins. Sam and I have the Titans. Harrison, why the hell do you have the Dolphins?
I don't know.
You just wanted to be different. It's
Going to South Beach and having an extra day. South Beach is the only thing I can think of.
If Will let us play, I'm picking against them.
That's fair. That's fair. Seahawks at Lions. This is one of the better games this week. Come in. Hopefully it lives up to the hype. Wow. Harrison is very interesting. Sam and I both have the Lions, which after Harrison just said how Jared Goff looked so good, you end up choosing the Seahawks. How did you manage to do that after saying that?
I thought he looked so good, and they only won by 10. I don't know how they didn't score more.
The Cardinals' defense is good.
They're
but they are. See, the thing is, it's coached by Gannon, so they're a type of defense that bends but doesn't break. So they're not going to allow you to absolutely destroy them. They're going to look terrible through it, but they're still going to be around somehow, some way, and that's his type of defense.
Again, the Lions they're just always in close games, and I'm not sold on them.
That's fair. That's fair.
I do like the Seahawks. I like that team they have. I think they're explosive.
Detroit on a Monday night on an island game here where there's no other game on TV. And that discount the game earlier. I'll play, but yeah, there hasn't been a team that has been convincing.
No.
But I do think Seattle's playing a little over their skis right now.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
And we talked about that, even though I had them as a winner. But I like this Lions team. I like what Dan Campbell said after the win too. Hopefully Laporta's not out for too long. I think he has a low ankle sprain, which is definitely better than a high ankle sprain. So.
Yeah.
I think this is another one that'll be close. I could 50-50 be wrong. Definitely. Just have a good feeling about the Seahawks right now.
That's fair. That's fair. It's also early in the season, so I dig it. But it's not early in this season because the season's almost over. It is September, and this is when baseball starts to really, really heat up as it gets colder. Sam, you have if the season ended right now.
Yeah, so I wanted to do this last week, but we had so much football to talk about, as it's the last week of the regular season for Major League Baseball, and I just wanted to point out who's winning the divisions and who's got one of 3 wild card spots locked up, and obviously we have time as the playoffs start next week to dive into this a little more. In the AL, Yankees so far have if the season ended right now, would be the number 1 seed. Guardians number 2. Meaning they have the Central locked up. The Astros have the West locked up, and the wild card teams would be the Orioles, Royals, and Tigers. Tigers have made a really late run over the last couple months. Have been playing really well. They just called up their number 1 prospect, Jackson June, who's a pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
Who just got called up to AAA. He's really impressive. I don't know if they're going to just use him in the bullpen, whatever, but part of the reason I love this Tigers team is the pitching that they have. I thought Tariq Skubal, and he probably could still win the Cy Young Award, but Joe's in that same kind of up from that same kind of plot. So that they're a fun team there. And then in the NL, Dodgers won here, so if the season ended right now, Phillies have the East right now. Brewers have clinched the playoffs. They have the Central, and then Padres, Mets, and the Dodgers are the other teams here, the wild card teams there. I also wanted to point out too, Shohei Ohtani, guys, last week went 6 for 6, ended up stealing 2 bags and hitting 3 home runs and creating the 50-50 club.
Yep.
And he has not stopped. I think he's at 51 or 52 now. 6 for 6. He had 17 or 18 total bases in the game, and he owns the Miami Marlins park between striking out Mike Trout to win the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
This insane performance there. I just wanted to just give Shohei his flowers here. He's rehabbing from Tommy John surgery or that UCL brace procedure. Whatever, he had UCL surgery a year ago around this time, and he is 50-50 running away with the NL MVP, and there's talk that he may even pitch if needed for the Dodgers out of the pen. And we know how pitching has really just failed the Dodgers in the playoffs.
He sure has, because Kershaw just is non-existent when it comes to the playoffs, or was over that time. Yeah, I've been actually grinding out trying to get Shohei Ohtani in the show because now his card is there as a 50-50 card. Can you guess what you have to do to get the card? You have to hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases to get the card. in your Diamond Dynasty. So that's with all compiled your total. So it's pretty cool they did that. Shout out to Tyreek Skubal because he is one of my starting pitchers and I deal with him. So it's phenomenal. I just hope for my bias fan base and opinion that the Yankees actually go far so we can actually see some playoff baseball and potentially be friends and watch the game together or sit outside or maybe go to a bar or something like that. Shit, I would even take the train to go down to Billy's and sit at Billy's and be at Billy's outside the stadium just to get that atmosphere, genuinely. I just hope the Astros fall flat on their face. I hope they all stub their toes when they get out of bed and can't do anything. So hope that happens. Shout out to Bobby Witt. I know. Oh, I know. Bobby Witt Jr., shout out to you. You had a great season. You will not be MVP. That will be judged. But you had a great season. Don't want to discount that. The Mets and Padres, that would be a good series. I would be intrigued to watch that. I know I haven't really followed the Brewers, but I know the Diamondbacks are really, really good too. So, but I'm also interested to see what the Phillies do. I'm low key like from afar a Phillies fan because I just like too many players on their team. Bohm, Bryce, just to name a few. But yeah, sounds really, really good with that. This weekend, excuse me. Yes. This weekend, Bama, Georgia, it's here.
Saturday.
You guys watching?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. That's all I need to know.
Who you got?
I don't have Bama. Because I hate Bama and I'll never choose Bama. And the times that I've chosen Bama to actually win and put money on them, guess what they did? They lost. So Bama can kick rocks.
I got Bama. Georgia's won like 50-something odd SEC games in a row. But I really like Jalen Milroe. And then Bama has a freshman wide receiver who's 17 years old. An absolute monster.
Well, I love Jalen Milroe. But see, the thing is, if I remember correctly, Bama was the team to knock Georgia out from getting to their national championship last year. So I think they got some beef to make sure that they let them know about. So I think
There's always beef in there.
Oh yeah, but I think Georgia's going to win by 2 touchdowns.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah.
It's in Tuscaloosa too, right? It's not neutral site or anything.
No.
It is in.
Yeah, I think it's in.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying it's not a neutral site is what I was agreeing with you. Yeah.
Yeah. You're right, Sam. It's at Bama.
We kind of already just talked about it with this one, with the Do You Care? But the Yankees are 1 game away from clinching the AL East and 3 from the AL. Do you care? Answer for all 3 of us, yes, because we're all Yankees fans. But this one is a very interesting one. Reggie Bush is suing the NCAA, USC, the Pac-12, seeking compensation for the NIL. Gentlemen, do you care?
I care.
Go ahead.
For my profession's sake, I guess. Obviously, it's no secret I work in college athletics.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think he should be compensated? Probably. But to sue and then backtrack, that just opens up a big door potential for a lot of lawsuits for former athletes.
It does.
And I don't know where that money's coming from. So yeah, I care. But and I have to read the article. But yeah.
I care because I know why Reggie's doing this. It's not just that he wants to get paid. He wants to make sure that you know that you hurt me and you hurt my career in my legacy in college football, and I'm going to come back and get everything that I deserve. To be fair to him, what Reggie Bush did during his time at USC is one of the greatest things that I've ever seen in college football, period. He literally had the whole country on his pinky wanting to do whatever he wanted because you were watching the games to see Reggie Bush do a jump cut and juke somebody out of their damn cleats. And he did it every single week, no matter who they played against. They had one of the best, he was a part of one of the best national football games against Texas, led by Vince Young. We know how dramatic it was leading up to that game. We know prior to, and this is no offense to the legends that played at USC prior to, but USC was kind of stale in a sense until they kind of came, him and Matt Leinart came, and they kind of revitalized what USC was and where it is now in this day and age, because they definitely brought eyes to USC. If you are over the age of like 20 something, you know all about USC, right? So
I'm a USC fan to this day.
there you go.
That team right there. I watch that Texas USC game once a year.
It's such a great game. It's honestly one of the greatest games in football, period, no matter which level. It's such a great game, and just seeing how it ended and what led up to it. Like, if you remember clearly, leading up to it, like the coverage that was for it alone was absolutely insane, right? So, I'm torn. I care about this because I am torn on how this will have a domino effect, right? I care because I do believe Reggie deserves everything that he wants and more because of what he went through, having to fight so hard to get his Heisman back and so on and so forth. But I also see the other side of the coin that, like Harrison said, if this lawsuit is won, there are going to be many other young men that are going to step up and say, and lawyer up and be like, yep, nope, we're following suit. We just saw what happened over there, and this is what happened. Now, to be fair, Reggie Bush was a once-in-a-generational talent. If a guy like Tim Tebow went and stepped up and said, you know what, I'm suing too to get my money, Tim's probably going to win as well too, because he's a guy that's so crazy like that, right? Johnny Manziel. There's a lot of really, really good young players that excelled in college football and did nothing in the sense of NFL football after, right? And that was kind of their peak, but was everything for their actual team. So I'd be interested to see what's going to happen, honestly. So I do care in totality.
I don't know enough about NIL and like all of the legal proceedings. I'm not going to pretend to be a lawyer, but like I feel like the NCAA opening the door and giving Reggie his Heisman back, the law is based on precedent. So again, it's that domino effect that you guys just mentioned, right? Like, yeah, if you do it proactively for one player, just because whether it's Tim Tebow or the 53rd man on that Florida team, like you could make a case, right?
Yeah.
Part of me is like, okay, the rules were broken and crazy and archaic and contradictory, and it's well documented how much shambles, perception-wise the NCAA can be. But like those were the rules, and like the rules weren't being followed, and these were it's not like we woke up one day and like USC and or Reggie Bush or whoever didn't know what would happen if that. And I don't want to be the bad guy because I'm glad Reggie got his Heisman back. I saw one of the Heisman House commercials and like
Yes,
it's awesome. Like,
yeah.
I'm on board. I'm just kind of looking at it from precedent. You have do I agree that the NCAA should be profiting off of all of this? No, but like that's how it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
I'm glad it's changed now, but I guess I don't know enough to really.
What you said is spot on. Like,
Yeah.
Those were the rules at the time, no matter how ridiculous they were. Everyone was saying it was ridiculous.
Yep.
Those were the rules, and that's kind of not what the athletes signed up for. They're you're kind of entrapped in that sense where else are you going to play? But those are the rules at the time. So to step back and open Pandora's box, so to speak, it would be a death knell to the NCAA.
Yeah.
Like, it just would be.
It will definitely be open up Pandora's box. It would be pandemonium. And again, we talked about it. We're old enough to remember when we were talking and having the conversation like players should get paid, but it'll never happen because this and that. But they really should get paid. And now here we are. Players are getting paid and doing what they should be doing. And now these old timers are retiring because they're upset that these guys get to transfer and are going to do this for their name, image, and likeness. Well, guess what? You're making millions, if not billions of dollars off of these young men's back, and you have been for so long, and they haven't got a penny, and half of them don't even, actually probably like 5/6 of them don't even make it to the NFL. So this is their peak. And this is their dream to continue to go, but they're never going to see this money. So why shouldn't they capitalize while they have the opportunity? They can be set up for the rest of their life, even if they don't make it to the next level or they don't pan out at the next level. But I will say this. This is what Reggie Bush's lawyer said. He said this case is not just about seeking justice for Reggie Bush. He goes on to say it's about setting a precedent for fair treatment for all college athletes. Our goal is to rectify this injustice and pave the way for our system where athletes are rightfully recognized, compensated, and treated fairly or for their contributions. So again, I get it, and it's I do find it hard, and this is me aligning with what Sam's saying, because as I've already said, I hope Reggie gets what he wants, but I finding it hard in my mind to see a court saying, we're awarding you for something that was not the case back then. That's like saying some drug that let's just say some drug that's illegal now, and you got charged for it back then, but you're trying to get compensated for it now when it's actually was illegal then, not wrongfully, something like that. Like it's not going to get passed. Like it was what it was at that point in time. So I find it to be a uphill battle in this case. It will change the game if he wins somehow, some way, but I'm here with my tea and my popcorn, and I will gladly watch to see how this pans out. So
I think regardless, we've seen change and we'll continue to see
yes,
change that will favor the collegiate athlete moving forward, whether Reggie's successful and his team care or not, right?
yeah,
I mean, I think he wins the case. I think Congress has been after the NCAA for the last couple of years, and I think they're going to continue to do so. And I think college athletics will be completely changed in the next 5 to 10 years. But that's just inside information.
blow up the NCAA, blow up FIFA. Let's get rid of all these corrupt ass organizations that are just doing the weirdest damn thing in sports because we got greedy ass old men running it. On that note, gentlemen, anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Go Birds.
Thank you, Eagles. Thank you, appreciate that.
Go Birds. Eagles and green birds and a red bird.
Wow, Sam, can you close this out, please, before I flip Harrison the bird?
It was Hayes' birthday yesterday. Happy birthday.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. It was stressful, but thank you.
I'll say. It's 144 in the book. So for Harrison and Branden, my name's Sam. Thanks so much for listening. And check us out on Instagram and tell your friends and your family and everybody who likes sports. And, go Birds.
Go get yourself some apple cider donuts. It's that time of the year. Goodbye. Don't worry, I got a half a dozen yesterday.
Hell yeah.
Let's just say they haven't survived at all. They're not existing.